First story. I demanded my brother skip his twin son's birthday party until I gave birth. They didn't cancel, so I turned their birthday party into my baby shower, destroyed my nephew's Switch, and pushed him into a pool to teach the twins about sharing. I thought I won. But then my husband found out he was raising my affair baby and divorced me, and my brother and Sil abandoned me, and now I'm regretting my actions. I 26F come from a big family. I'm the youngest of 5 siblings. We're generally close and have always been the type to rally around each other when things get rough. But things can get tense when someone starts making decisions that don't sit well with the rest. That person, more often than not, is my sister-in-law Jess 34F, married to my older brother Dave 36M. They have 4 kids together, 2 girls 14 and 12 and twin boys who are about to turn 9. Jess is a very involved parent, which is fine, but she also has a tendency to push her preferences and doesn't leave much room for input. It's always her plans and her rules, and you're expected to just fall in line. Dave usually goes along with it. He's always been quieter and avoids conflict, but that means Jess rarely gets told no. The current issue started when Jess planned a birthday party for the twins. She wanted to do it at their house, which is 2 hours away from where the rest of our family lives. It was supposed to be just a small family thing our side, her parents, and her sister's family. I asked if she'd consider moving the party to my parents' place instead. The reason I gave was that I'm pregnant 28 weeks now, and a 4-hour round trip wasn't ideal. That was true, but the conversation didn't start there. Originally, I'd been trying to figure out how to do a baby shower. My husband and I are watching our finances pretty tightly right now, so I had to put it on hold. When my mom and I were talking about the twins' party, she casually suggested, half joking, that we could do a low-key baby shower alongside the birthday since we'd already have everyone there, and it would be cheaper and easier to plan. I thought it made sense, practical, efficient, and a nice way to celebrate both. So when I called Jess, I did ask if we could move the party to my parents' house, but I didn't bring up the baby shower yet. I said it was too far for me to travel at this stage in pregnancy, and my mom and I would fully plan and pay for the party to make things easier on everyone. Jess shut it down fast. Said it was their birthday and their home, and it wouldn't be right to move it. She started going off about how the boys would be more comfortable in their own house, how the older girls already had plans to see friends that day after the party, and how her parents would now have to travel. She got defensive fast and made it seem like I was being selfish even asking. I told her I was just trying to offer a compromise and still be part of it. But she said, "If you can't come, then don't." After that, I went back to my mom and explained how the call went. She wasn't thrilled with Jess's reaction either. We both thought the distance thing was being blown out of proportion and felt like Jess was just being stubborn. My mom reached out to Dave and tried reasoning with him separately, without Jess involved. Long story short, after a couple of days of back and forth, my brother agreed to move the party to our parents' house just this once, so that everyone could be there. Jess wasn't happy about it. She made it clear it wasn't her choice and said she was only agreeing because people were making a fuss. The party was rescheduled for the following weekend at my parents' place. At this point, with my brother on board and my mom fully involved, my mom and I went ahead with the plan to combine it with a baby shower. We figured we'd do a small table with a cake and some decorations on the side of the main party space, nothing crazy, just a way to acknowledge it while everyone was together. I invited a few of my own friends, people Jess and her kids don't really know, but I'm close to. They've been supportive through the pregnancy and were excited to come. I didn't think it would be a big deal again. It was going to be a side thing, nothing elaborate. I didn't send formal invites or anything, just asked a handful of people if they wanted to stop by. The day of the party comes, and from the moment Jess and her family arrived, the vibe was off. She looked annoyed. Her daughters didn't talk much to anyone, and Dave avoided eye contact. Her parents were polite but clearly uncomfortable. Jess made one passive comment about not knowing there'd be so many extra guests, and then stayed mostly in the kitchen. The twins were excited at first, running around like usual. But once the gifts started showing up, baby clothes, toys, and books, things got awkward fast. My friends showed up with gifts for me, and my mom had decorated a section of the living room with a baby-themed banner and a small diaper cake. It was cute, not over the top, but definitely visible. The shift happened quickly. One of the twins noticed I was opening a gift, walked over, and said, "Wait, is this your party too?" He wasn't upset at first, just confused. I explained gently that we were also celebrating my baby a little bit while everyone was together, and he nodded, but then ran off to tell his brother. About 10 minutes later, both twins were crying in the corner. I guess they felt like their party wasn't theirs anymore. Jess came storming over and asked what I'd said to them. I told her the truth, and she just shook her head and muttered something about how this wasn't supposed to happen. After that, everything started falling apart. Jess's sister and her family left early. Her parents sat quietly for a bit, then followed. Even my older siblings looked uncomfortable. My dad pulled me aside and asked why there was a second party happening during the boy's birthday. He was visibly pissed, which caught me off guard because I genuinely didn't think it was going to be a problem. I told him it wasn't a second party, it was just practical. We were already here, already spending money and time, and it made sense to combine things. He just stared at me for a second and said, "This isn't how we do things." My mom, for her part, tried to smooth things over. She kept telling everyone that we were just celebrating both, that it didn't take anything away from the boys, and they were still the focus. But it was obvious that wasn't how people saw it. The final straw came when I cut the baby cake, not even a big one, just a small one tier before Jess had done candles for the twins. I didn't realize it would be an issue, but the moment the knife went in, one of the twins started crying again and said, "You're not supposed to have cake before our cake." Jess heard her son crying and came over. She didn't yell, but her face said enough. She looked straight at me and said, "You really couldn't wait? Not even until after we finished the birthday part?" I told her I didn't think it mattered. The cakes were different, and we weren't trying to take anything from the twins. She said, "You already have." Then she walked off, grabbed her girls, and they started picking up their things. Dave didn't say anything. He just stood by the door while his kids collected their stuff. Her sister's husband made a sarcastic comment loud enough for people to hear something about, "Glad we came for someone else's party." That's when a few others started leaving too. My dad didn't say much in front of everyone, but when I passed him in the hallway, he told me, "You need to think about what this looked like to everyone else." The only people who stayed were my mom, my husband, and a few of my close friends. The rest of the family left early or made up an excuse and slipped out without saying much. The twins didn't even stay to cut their cake. Later that night, my phone started blowing up. My brother texted me and said, "That wasn't a baby shower. That was hijacking." I didn't respond right away. Then Jess sent me a long message saying she knew I was trying to shift the party from the start. She brought up how I originally asked her to cancel the whole thing and wait until after my baby shower, and how I suggested skipping the boy's birthday and doing everything at once later. That's true, I had floated that early on, before I suggested the location change. At the time, I was thinking more about cost and how much effort it would take everyone to do 2 events back to back. I didn't think they'd care that much, especially since they weren't throwing a huge party with outside guests. But she clearly held on to it. She also said she felt tricked. That I made the party about myself, and that it was never about the twins, just a way for me to get my shower paid for. She said her kids were heartbroken and asked what kind of aunt would do that. I didn't respond to that one either. Then my other siblings started weighing in. My older sister said I should have known better than to invite people Jess didn't even know. Another brother said it looked bad that the baby gifts were front and center, while the birthday gifts were pushed to the side. My dad texted in the family group that the whole thing was embarrassing, and that our family doesn't act like this. Only my mom defended me. She told everyone that I wasn't trying to make it a competition, that I just wanted to celebrate both, and didn't think it would be such a problem. She said if people had just communicated better, it wouldn't have gotten out of hand. But the problem is I did try to talk to Jess. She's the one who made it clear that if I wanted to be involved, it had to be on her terms. When that didn't work, we offered to handle everything and relocate it, and she still refused until my brother stepped in. And once the party moved, it only made sense to include the baby shower. I didn't think it would ruin the day. It felt efficient. Everyone was already there, and I helped pay for it. It wasn't some elaborate event. It was one extra table and a cake. For context, I hadn't had a shower yet. I'd planned to have one later, but we'd hit some financial issues and put it off. I saw this as a way to still celebrate without spending more money or making everyone travel again. I didn't think combining them would lead to this kind of fallout. My husband thinks it's been blown way out of proportion. He says Jess always wants things her way, and the fact that she only agreed to move the party after Dave got involved says a lot. He doesn't think I did anything wrong. I told him I wasn't trying to upstage anyone or steal attention. I just wanted to make the most out of a situation that already required planning, money, and travel for everyone. I still feel like I did what made the most sense. We kept it simple. The twins still had a birthday cake, presents, and their family around. But at the same time, I can't ignore that nearly everyone left early and that the kids were clearly upset. That part sucks. What also bothers me is that now I'm being painted as selfish, like this was some plan to ruin the twins' day. I didn't expect that reaction. I thought people would understand we were just trying to make it easier and more meaningful. But I also can't ignore how many people are upset. Jess isn't talking to me. Dave said we need to have a serious conversation, which I'm guessing won't be pleasant. My dad won't even respond to my texts. And my siblings are now having side conversations without me in the chat. My mom says everyone will cool off eventually, but I don't know. The more I think about it, the more I wonder if I should have handled it differently. So now I'm asking Ada for combining my baby shower with my nephew's birthday party and inviting people Jess didn't know, after she initially refused to move the party closer to where I live. Comments. Comment 1. You hijacked that party. Straight up. You asked her to move it, she said no, and then you went around her, got your mom and brother involved, and flipped the whole thing once you had the venue. And I don't buy the whole, it made sense financially angle when the party wasn't even your event to start with. You basically moved into someone else's birthday and dropped a baby shower on top of it like it was a logical errand run. And inviting people the birthday kids don't even know. What the hell did you think would happen? It became awkward by design. You made a party for 9-year-old boys into a baby celebration for you. And yeah, they noticed. They're not toddlers. They cried because they felt like guests at their own damn birthday. That sucks. You weren't being practical. You were being dismissive. You could have waited a few weeks or done a tiny gathering with your friends. Instead, you torched a family event and expected everyone to act like it was fine. Don't act surprised everyone walked out. Comment 2. You took 2 9-year-old boys' birthday and turned it into your baby shower because you felt entitled to have your moment. Plain and simple. It's wild to me how you try to justify it as practical or efficient. Since when is someone else's party a backup plan for an event you couldn't afford? You weren't honest from the jump. First it was travel issues, then money, then helping your mom. All of it sounds like layered excuses masking the fact that you didn't want to miss a chance to be celebrated. You co-opted their day, invited people who didn't even know the twins, and then had your own cake cut before theirs. That wasn't a slip-up, that was you prioritizing yourself again. You didn't just want to attend the party. You needed to be featured. And the second you got the location moved, you made it about you. I get being pregnant is tough, and wanting support is valid, but not like this. You could have had your own thing in a couple weeks. Instead, you left your nephews crying on their own birthday. It wasn't shared. You overstepped, and everyone saw it. Don't be shocked by the fallout. Comment 3. Honestly, Jess sucks in her own way. Super rigid, steamrolls her husband. Sounds exhausting. But she didn't even get the chance to be mad in peace, because you bulldozed the whole thing once your brother folded. Let's not pretend this was about saving money either. You were already bitter she wouldn't bend, so you made a power play and slapped a baby shower on her kid's party. Whether you meant to or not, you won up the whole day. There's a difference between asking for a favor and deciding, fine, we'll just do it my way anyway. You brought randoms into what was supposed to be a tight family event, and people felt blindsided. Your mom enabled it, but she's not the one people are pissed at. The moment you cut your cake first, you sealed the deal. That's what people remember. Timing matters. And if you're going to say, well, I didn't know it'd be a big deal, then you're just out of touch. You made the event confusing and awkward, especially for the kids. That's the piece you're not owning. Comment 4. This wasn't about practicality. The second your baby shower got delayed, and this birthday party popped up, you saw an opening, and you took it. You didn't want to just celebrate your baby, you wanted to do it in front of the whole family, wrapped in someone else's event so you wouldn't have to do the work. You were never planning to skip the birthday. That travel excuse came after Jess said no to hosting your shower on top of the twins' party. The issue is you can't let go of anything that isn't centered on you. Those boys were excited for their day, and you inserted yourself in the middle of it with guests they didn't know, gifts they couldn't open, and decorations that had nothing to do with them. And then you wonder why they cried. You redefined the whole vibe of the party without their consent. Their parents were right to be pissed. Hell, I'd be mad too if someone took my kid's party and turned it into a registry drop-off with bonus attendees. No matter how calm you stayed or how useful you were, you hijacked it. And honestly, YTA. Hard. Update. I wasn't planning on posting again, but too much has happened. And I need outside opinions because my entire family has basically stepped away from me at this point. After the party disaster, Jess and my brother decided to redo the twins' birthday. I found out through my mom, who mentioned it offhand like it was no big deal. Apparently, they planned a second, smaller party at their house with just their kids' friends and a few relatives. I wasn't invited. My husband wasn't either. I took that really badly. A second birthday meant rewriting the first one. If the second party happened, then the first one became pointless and embarrassing in hindsight. It felt like they were erasing the day and quietly blaming me. I called my brother and told him that having another party wasn't fair and that it made the first one meaningless. I said if they did this, they were openly picking a side. He told me it wasn't my call and that they were just trying to give their kids a good memory after what happened. That pissed me off. I told him if they went through with it, then I didn't want anyone from our side attending. I called my siblings individually and told them I felt this redo was cruel and unnecessary. A few said they wouldn't go to avoid drama. Others said they were staying out of it. The party still happened. I didn't go, obviously. Seeing pictures later hurt more than I expected. It looked relaxed. The twins were smiling. No baby decorations. No confusion. That's when it finally clicked that they hadn't wanted a shared celebration at all. That realization didn't calm me down, it made me feel pushed out. Around the same time, money became a bigger stressor. My dad had helped all my siblings at different points, and I assumed he'd help us too once the baby arrived. After the party fallout, he told me he was stepping back financially. He said he didn't feel comfortable getting involved while emotions were still raw. That felt like punishment. I told him it was unfair to tie family help to a disagreement, but he didn't budge. A few weeks later, my baby shower redo never happened. I mentioned possibly doing something smaller, but no one volunteered to help, and I wasn't in a position to plan it alone. That stung more than I want to admit. I gave birth about a month later. The baby is healthy. The delivery went fine. My dad came to the hospital briefly, brought flowers, held the baby, and left quietly. My siblings sent polite texts. Jess and my brother didn't show up. They sent a generic gift card and a message saying congrats. After the baby came home, things with my husband changed. He told me bluntly that he was exhausted by the family drama and wished I'd handled things differently. He's present with our child and takes care of what needs to be done. But there's distance between us now. We barely talk about anything outside logistics. He's made it clear he doesn't want to be involved with my family issues anymore. Trying to smooth things over, I reached out to Jess a few weeks later. I suggested letting the twins come over and meet the baby, maybe even be part of a small photo shoot to mark the cousins' meeting. She declined. I tried again by sending the twins a late birthday gift labeled "From Baby," thinking it might be a sweet bridge. Jess mailed it back. That's when I snapped and sent her a message I probably shouldn't have. I said her kids were acting entitled, and that learning to share attention was part of growing up. I told her she was raising them to make everything about themselves. She didn't respond. My brother blocked me after that. At Thanksgiving, my parents hosted as usual. I wasn't invited. My mom claimed it was to keep things calm. I showed up anyway. I felt like as family I had a right to be there, especially since I was asked to bring a dessert in past years. When I arrived, it went dead quiet for a moment. People continued eating, but no one really talked to me. The twins were there. One of them looked at me and said something along the lines of, "This party isn't for babies," and laughed. I reacted without thinking. There's a pool in my parents' backyard. I walked over and nudged him in. I genuinely meant it as roughhousing, the kind kids do all the time. I didn't think about what he was holding. He was holding a switch in his hands. Apparently, it was his birthday present. He came up soaked and crying. The switch was ruined. Jess lost it. My brother rushed over. My mom didn't jump in to calm things down like she usually would. She just told me to leave. I tried explaining that I didn't mean harm, and that kids mess around like that all the time, but nobody wanted to hear it. I was told not to come back. Since then, my family gatherings have continued without me. My siblings don't call. My mom checks in about the baby, but keeps conversations short. My dad hasn't said much at all. Jess and my brother are completely done with me. I still feel like I never meant to hurt anyone. I was trying to make things easier, combine events, save money, and keep people together. Somewhere along the way, everyone decided I was the problem. Now my husband barely looks at me. My family feels gone. And I'm left wondering if I really crossed lines I can't come back from, or if I'm being blamed for things that spiraled beyond my intent. I don't know how to fix this. Comments. Comment 1. I actually think Jess and your brother handled things pretty cleanly after the first disaster. They made a new party, limited the guest list, focused on their kids, and didn't rub it in your face. Everything after that came from you, not being able to tolerate exclusion. Showing up uninvited to Thanksgiving wasn't standing up for family. It was forcing your presence into a room where people already felt burned. Then when one of the twins mouthed off, "Yeah, kids say dumb SHT," you responded physically. It doesn't matter that it wasn't hard or meant to be playful. He ended up soaked, embarrassed, and out of console. That's a hard line for most parents. The bigger issue is that every apology attempt you described had a hook in it. Gifts with strings, messages with lectures, suggestions that still revolve around your baby. Even the name issue and photoshoot idea feel like landmines, not olive branches. Repair requires accepting being sidelined for a while. You keep pushing instead. No one here looks shocked that people pulled away. They look tired. Comment 2. The sad part is how avoidable this all was early on. Missing a birthday happens. Being pregnant doesn't entitle someone to redesign other people's milestones, but it also shouldn't turn into permanent exile. That fork in the road was the moment the kids cried and people left. A clean acknowledgement right then without defending, explaining, or reframing might have changed everything. Instead, every step escalates the stakes, blocking the redo party emotionally, counting gifts, diagnosing the twins' behavior, pushing family to pick sides, forcing appearances, bringing a baby into every attempt at reconciliation. Even now, the update centers on how unfair this feels to you. The pool incident feels like all that pressure leaking out in 1 second. I don't think you wanted to hurt a kid, but frustration plus entitlement plus proximity equals bad outcomes. What concerns me most is your relationship at home. A partner who checks out emotionally after a baby arrives is waving a flag. If nothing else, focus there. Families sometimes forgive chaos. They rarely forgive repetition without self-awareness. Comment 3. All the justifications saving money, being practical, making it easier fell apart once you started excluding others for doing the same. You wanted grace from your Sil, but gave her none. The first party didn't go how anyone wanted. The kids were upset. That should have been your cue to say, "This didn't land how I thought it would." Instead, you doubled down. You framed the second party as disrespectful, as if it somehow invalidated yours. Then made calls to shut it down. That turned a repair into another fight. The switch incident is worse than you think. Kids are sensitive about their stuff, especially when they're made fun of or made a spectacle of. The line between playful and humiliating is thin, and you were already the adult they were nervous around. Your mom not defending you speaks volumes. She might have protected you before, but that pool moment was public, and even she couldn't spin it. Your husband pulling back emotionally after all this isn't surprising. Being in constant conflict is draining. What you need isn't another family event to prove your place. You need silence, reflection, and possibly therapy before reaching out again. No one trusts your judgment right now. Update. I didn't expect to write this, but my life looks completely different now than it did a few months ago. After I was pushed out of family events, I leaned hard into being a mom. I posted constantly. First smiles, rolling over, grabbing toys, tracking milestones. I compared my baby to how the twins were at the same age because I had photos and videos from when I babysat them years ago. I made comments like, "Some babies are just more aware early," and "Consistency makes a difference." I didn't tag Jess or my brother, but anyone with eyes could see what I was doing. I started sending updates directly to the family group chat too. Videos, photos, and paragraphs about how proud I was, how much effort it took, and how I never cut corners. I expected replies, praise, anything. Most messages went unread. A few siblings muted the chat. My mom stopped reacting altogether. I doubled down. I shared parenting articles. I talked about early language exposure and emotional intelligence. I wrote long captions about how intentional parenting shapes children, and how some people don't realize the impact of letting kids run the show. It made sense in my head. I was trying to show that I wasn't reckless or selfish. I was doing this right. No one reached out. Around that time, I heard through my mom that my brother and Jess had been invited to a cousin's birthday party I wasn't invited to. It wasn't a small thing either. Restaurant, cake, extended family. I showed up anyway with my baby. I brought a gift and acted like everything was normal. It was awkward immediately. People nodded, some said hello, but no one engaged. Jess wasn't there, but my brother saw me and took his kids outside for a while. I left after 20 minutes. No one followed. A few days later, I posted an open letter online. I didn't name names. I talked about isolation, new motherhood, and being punished for wanting family together. I said some people couldn't stand seeing someone grow and change. I framed it as healing and honesty. That was the last straw for several relatives. My dad called me and told me to take it down. I refused. He said I was dragging private issues into public view and creating sides. After that, he stopped answering my calls. I still tried to reconcile. I sent out invitations for a family reset brunch. I only invited people who hadn't directly confronted me. My mum came. No one else did. She stayed for less than an hour. When she left, she told me she was exhausted and didn't recognize me anymore. I attempted therapy next. I booked an appointment with a child-focused therapist in town. After 2 sessions, she asked clarifying questions about my family. She realized who my brother and Jess were. She explained she couldn't continue working with me due to a conflict. I felt rejected all over again. Meanwhile, my marriage was deteriorating quietly. My husband stopped engaging in these conversations months ago. He cared for the baby, worked, and slept. No affection. No interest in my family problems. I assumed it was stress. Then one night, he sat me down and told me he'd done a paternity test. He said he needed certainty. He said too many things felt off. The dates. The timing. My defensiveness when he asked questions early in the pregnancy. I laughed at first. Then he showed me the results. The baby isn't his. I didn't deny it. I couldn't. Years ago, before marriage, I dated someone in high school. We reconnected briefly during a rough period when my husband and I were struggling to conceive. It wasn't a full affair in my mind. It felt unfinished, familiar. When I found out I was pregnant, everything lined up. I took it as fate. I convinced myself it didn't matter because I was married, stable, and ready. I never planned to tell him because the pregnancy went smoothly, and I believed we'd move forward as a family. My husband didn't see it that way. He moved into the guest room that night. A week later, he filed to remove his name from the birth certificate. He said he would still make sure the baby had what was needed short term, but he wouldn't raise another man's child under false pretenses. Divorce papers followed shortly after. My parents found out through him. My dad stopped all financial help immediately. My mum cried, but said she couldn't defend me anymore. She told me I'd broken trust on multiple fronts, and that the family was stepping back permanently. Jess never reached out. My brother didn't either. Through mutual acquaintances, I know they're doing fine. The twins are thriving. I still announce achievements. I still explain my choices. It feels hollow now. My husband speaks only through lawyers. The man I dated in high school wants nothing to do with this. I'm alone with my baby, and a mess that keeps getting harder to justify. I thought if I kept explaining, people would understand. If I showed effort, they'd come back. Instead, everyone pulled away, one by one. I need honesty, not comfort. Am I the aita here, or did everyone abandon me when I needed them most? Comments. Comment 1. Let's stop pretending this was just about a party or parenting style. You cheated. You slept with your ex while trying to build a family with your husband and decided for him that he didn't need to know. Then when it worked out for you, you buried it and pushed forward like nothing happened. That's where everything starts to fall apart. And dragging your own mom into this, using her to host events, send invites, and do emotional cleanup while you were busy performing motherhood online. That's next level selfish. She backed you for so long, probably thinking this was just a rough patch. She even stood up for you during the birthday fiasco. But eventually even she hit a limit. No one abandoned you. They got tired of watching you manipulate everything, and everyone just to keep your image from cracking. The baby didn't break your marriage, you did that. Lying about paternity is betrayal on a level most people can't come back from. You didn't get punished for becoming a mum. You isolated yourself trying to stage manage how the world saw you. Now it's quiet because there's nothing left to argue about. You made sure of that. Comment 2. There's a difference between being cut off and being removed because people had to protect themselves. You pushed too hard, too often, in every direction. People started stepping away not when you made one mistake, but when you doubled down after every single one. Hijacking a party, forcing invites, passive-aggressive, open letters. And then that brunch? That was an event for people to praise you, not reconnect. Add in how you kept using your baby as a social tool, milestone updates, comparisons, bragging dressed as parenting theory, and it all became performative. But the biggest blow? Your husband finding out he's not the father through a test he had to do in secret. That's nuclear-level betrayal. I don't care if it was just feelings or a brief reconnection. It shattered everything you built together. You took away his right to decide for himself. Don't act shocked people backed away. They didn't leave you at your worst, they left after your worst became the new baseline. If everyone's pulling away and even your mom is tired, Maybe it's time to stop broadcasting and start listening. The more you talk, the more people tune out. Comment 3. It's the cheating for me. People can excuse a lot petty drama, family spats, even the birthday SHT show, but once the truth came out about the baby, no one had anything left to hold on to. You used the family to play out some twisted redemption arc, constantly sending updates, throwing brunches, sending fake invitations, and posting passive-aggressive letters. For what? Validation. Forgiveness without ever admitting what you really did. You built the whole thing on a lie. And when your husband found out, you tried to smooth it over by acting like it wasn't a real affair. But you planned to get pregnant. You chose to cheat because you were sick of waiting. You lied to everyone, including your own damn mother, and still expected people to line up for baby photos and cake. No one cut you off over parenting, they left because you treated them like props. Now the trust's gone, and so is the marriage, the support, and the reputation. This wasn't abandonment. It was a slow retreat while you dug your own grave, one performance at a time. You want people to come back. Try starting with the truth, not a curated version. The real one. Until then, stay off the invite list. Update. The divorce went through last month. I got a fair financial split, more than I expected, considering how messy it all got. He kept the house, I kept the car, and he agreed to pay for a portion of our daughter's expenses through a separate agreement, not out of obligation, but to avoid legal back and forth. He couldn't get his name off the birth certificate. Legally, he's still the father. That's a win, I guess. Not because of child support or money, but because no matter who her biological father is, the man who helped raise her in those first months will always be her father on paper. That's not nothing. But nothing about that made anything feel okay. He doesn't see her, doesn't call. He made it clear once the paperwork was final that this was the end of his involvement. I send him pictures and updates anyway. They stay on read. Sometimes not even that. And if I'm honest, I don't know if I'm doing that for him or just trying to convince myself that someone still belongs in this picture. I thought once the dust settled, my family would step up. I thought my mom would soften, that anyone would reach out. But nothing. No texts, no cards, not even likes on photos. So I went further. I made a shared Google folder called Her Story. It has organized folders. Month 1, Month 2, First Laugh, and First Time Saying Mama. I shared it with everyone, my mom, my dad, and all my siblings. Even my cousins. No one opened it. I checked activity. 0 views. So I followed up. I sent individual emails. I kept them warm. Just wanted to make sure the link worked. Let me know if you need a different format. Some didn't respond. One cousin said, I think it's best we keep some distance for now. That's when I realized they weren't ignoring me by mistake. They were doing it on purpose. I started going through old contacts, extended family, second cousins and aunts I hadn't seen in years. I called, messaged, and explained my side. I wanted them to hear it from me, not the way Jess probably spun it. I told them what happened with the party, the cheating, the divorce. I said I wasn't proud, but I wasn't malicious. Just human. Just trying. Most of them didn't engage. One said I sounded like I was shopping for forgiveness. Another said flat out that dragging my baby into every apology attempt felt manipulative. That broke something in me. I started posting again. They didn't go viral or anything. A few likes from strangers. Some comments from mums who said they felt seen. I wasn't doing it for likes. I was trying to reframe the narrative. If my family were going to erase us, I'd write it out myself. I even captioned one photo. She'll never know what it's like to be left, because I already did it for her. Still, no response. I found out the twins were doing a school play. I didn't message Jess. I knew she wouldn't respond. I just showed up. I brought flowers. My daughter wore a dress I picked out special. I waited until the end and tried to give the flowers to one of the twins. He looked at me, looked at my daughter, and said, "We don't talk to you anymore." A teacher stepped in, told me I should leave. I went home and cried in the bathroom while my daughter banged her toys on the floor outside the door. I couldn't tell if she knew, if she could feel that no one wanted us around. I told myself she was too young, that someday people would come back around. Later that week, I wrote another caption. They forgot she's a child. They forgot I was one too. I got one DM that night. A friend of a cousin. She said she gets it. That her family turned on her too. But when I asked to meet for coffee, she ghosted. Then came the family calendar incident. I noticed my parents had been doing small get-togethers again. Group photos showed up on mutual friends' social media, cake, decorations, matching shirts. My daughter and I weren't invited, so I made my own calendar. Added everyone's birthdays, anniversaries, even the twins' sports games. I shared it with the whole family and called it Rebuilding Us. No one accepted the invite. My mum removed herself. My brother left a comment. Do not involve my children in anything you organize. So I posted a public message. If they won't come to us, we'll make our own history. And I started editing old family photos, putting my daughter into them, sitting on laps, smiling next to me at parties she was never at. I made a collage, printed it, hung it in our apartment. It didn't look real, but it looked how I wanted it to feel. I sent a copy to my mom. She mailed it back. No note. The money from the divorce keeps us housed, keeps the lights on. My daughter has everything she needs on paper, but no one visits. No one calls. There's no family left. Just an online feed of curated moments, and a toddler who'll eventually start asking questions I can't answer. Sometimes I think about Jess. I imagine her laughing at all this. Her demon spawn, as people like to say, happy, intact, chosen. And maybe that's what hurts most, they got to choose who stayed. I didn't. I keep telling myself my daughter doesn't deserve this. And I believe it. But no matter how hard I try, no one wants us back. If anyone still thinks I did this to myself, fine. But my daughter didn't. Does that make me the arsehole? Or just the one still holding the photo no one else wants to be in? Comments. Comment 1. Nobody's denying motherhood is hard. But you turned your baby into a public campaign and expected applause every time she blinked. The folders, the calendars, the fake photo inserts, that isn't pride. That's desperation disguised as legacy building. And trying to guilt everyone into seeing your kid. That's not parenting. That's performance. They probably would have shown up, eventually, if you'd just taken the L after the birthday blow up and stopped trying to restage every family moment around your redemption arc. Instead, you edited your child into someone else's memories. You stalked the twins' school play and held up a sign like a rom-com finale. All that does is confirm to everyone watching that this isn't about love, it's about image. And your ex, he stayed quiet, handled business, didn't torch you publicly. Meanwhile, you're still writing captions about how people left her. They left you because you made the entire family dynamic a hostage negotiation. People stopped picking up the phone because they didn't want to be dragged into another scene. Your daughter isn't the reason no one calls. She's the only innocent one left in this mess. Comment 2. The biggest lie you're telling isn't to the internet, it's to yourself. This isn't about being the last one holding the photo. You're the one who scribbled over the faces and mailed it back, hoping someone would frame it. You cheated, lied, weaponized your kids' milestones like they were receipts for loyalty. Then you went full PR machine, trying to shame people into contact. They're not heartless. They're just done. Everyone gave you more chances than you deserved. But you kept trying to cast your daughter as some tragic symbol, instead of just raising her quietly and letting people come around. You don't give folks space, you corner them. No one wants to be part of a narrative where they're either props or villains. The second you started captioning her life as a moral reckoning for the whole family, they opted out. People don't want to be publicly guilted into love. And honestly, that little girl deserves more than to grow up in a performance. She deserves peace, even if it's just you and her. But until you stop chasing vindication like it's closure, no one's coming back. They saw enough. Comment 3. This isn't about family being cruel. It's about people reacting to being exhausted. You played tug of war with everyone's patience for over a year. Rewriting birthdays, dragging kids into weird photo edits, showing up at school events you weren't invited to. People don't cut you off out of nowhere. They step back after realizing you're not trying to repair anything, just reshape the truth until it fits what you can live with. And dragging your daughter into it, captioning her like she's narrating your pain. That's heavy. That kid's going to grow up with no connection to her family. And instead of owning how that happened, you're writing sad Instagram monologues. It doesn't matter how fair the divorce settlement was. You burned through trust like it was fuel, and now you're shocked no one wants to rebuild. They probably pity your daughter, sure. But pity doesn't rebuild bridges, it just hardens silence. You can grieve what you lost without pretending you didn't create the fallout. This isn't about being misunderstood. You made choices, and the people who backed you the longest, your mom, your ex, your own siblings, eventually stopped waiting for you to realize it. Second story. My daughter had her period, and her entitled teacher denied her from going to the bathroom, humiliated her in front of the whole class, and then punished her. My 14-year-old daughter is a freshman in HS. She has big dreams, So she takes school very seriously. She's a good student and doesn't get into trouble. Today, she emailed me to tell me that she told her teacher that she has her period and urgently needed to go to the bathroom. The teacher said no. She went on to tell the teacher that she is actively bleeding through her tampon and didn't want to get her light gray pants dirty for the rest of the school day. The teacher again said no. She panicked and went anyway. She stayed within the bathroom rules of being back within 5 minutes, etc. When she arrived back, the teacher told her to speak with her in the hallway. The teacher told her that she doesn't believe her and that she was going to receive a disciplinary referral. She recommended that my daughter have me email her to verify that she has her period. My daughter is freaking out because disciplinary referrals are usually used for students using AI or getting caught with their phone too many times. I'm trying really hard not to rage out at this teacher right now. Every email I've started isn't great. I ultimately decided to call the assistant principal to ask what my daughter should have done in this situation and plan to reserve my words for when I hear back from the assistant principal. Additional info. I was called to come to the nurse's office yesterday because my daughter had bad cramps, and I needed to give meds as well as sign a paper allowing my daughter to carry the meds on her. My daughter just got her period yesterday, and this happened at about 9:30 a.m. Given that it's her second heavy day and how early she gets up in the morning, it makes sense that she was overdue at this point. AO reacting to my daughter getting in trouble for not listening to the teacher during a biological urgency. I'm curious what others would have done or how you would approach this with the school teacher. Comments. Comment 1. Don't send an email to the teacher. Go over their head and deal directly with the principals. OP. This seems to be the general consensus. I am about to run errands, and if I don't hear from the VP before I'm done, I'm going to stop into the school. Comment 2. Is the teacher a lady? OP does not say what gender the teacher was. OP. The teacher is a woman. I looked her up on Facebook, and she has 2 young daughters. Comment 3. What is your daughter's relationship with this teacher? The teacher is still in the wrong, but for the teacher to not believe her could be because she has caught her lying in the past. This may be shocking, but kids are cruel to teachers every day. I've seen many entitled children tell teachers how to do their jobs, and then the parents come in and defend their little angel because they would never do anything wrong. All I'm saying is that, yes, the teacher was wrong in this instance, but everyone on here is ready to hang the teacher, and we have no idea what their side of this story is. Being a teacher is hard work. Mistakes happen. They have to deal with SHTTY kids and their SHTTY parents on a daily basis. Thankful at the present moment. The good kids and good parents outnumber the bad ones. But things are changing. OP. The new semester started yesterday, so this is day 2 of having her as a teacher. She's a pretty quiet kid, so I can't imagine that she knows a lot about her yet. Comment 4. The story didn't happen the way it is stated. Or OP is omitting details, or they themselves have been lied to. Teachers aren't going to risk it if a kid says it is an emergency. Full stop. Well, I didn't let a kid go to the bathroom when they said it was an emergency, so they SHT themselves, and we now can't use the room. A teacher isn't going to request period documentation from a parent. Unless I get period proof, it is a referral. I also find it odd you went to the nurse the day prior for period issues, and somehow the school is still giving a referral. Would that not be evidence? I also don't know any high school that would make you come in over that, or allow a student to carry meds on them. Leave it at the nurse's office. The kid has a note to go there and get some if needed and goes back to class. OP. Not sure what I would be omitting or lying about. This is a strange response. The teacher wanted me to verify that she was not lying about her period. She didn't ask for pictures or anything. My daughter could have easily brought up the nurse, but she was so upset after being humiliated in front of the class that she probably didn't think about it. There is a form that I can put on file that will allow my daughter to carry meds with her, or to allow the school to give her some. Since we didn't have anything on file, I had to go into the office and physically hand the pills to her. The nurse then told me about the form. It's just a form that says her name, meds, and dose, and she had to sign a part saying she wouldn't give them to any other students. It's not like Ritalin or anything. It's OTC. She can now carry it in her backpack. We live in a large metro area. I am sure a form like this is common at other schools. OP. Ahmad removed a comment. Phones are banned in her school as of this year. I think our state just allowed a statewide ban as well. Why even before the ban? My kids would email me if it was during class. It's easier since their Chromebook is already out versus pulling out their phone. Comment 5. Was the teacher male? Is your daughter a person of color? What the actual F, dude? I can't believe this. OP. Both white females. Update. I was going to stop by the school when I was done running errands. But the VP called me back just before I left. I told her the story just as my daughter told it to me. She genuinely seemed horrified. She shared my concerns as a mom who also has a high school daughter. She said she had looked up my daughter's record, and there was zero evidence that she skips class or had any disciplinary actions against her that might suggest she has other intentions. And even if she did have a record, she still should have been allowed to use the bathroom. She asked what I wanted done to the teacher. I said, as a rage-filled mom right now, I want her fired. But I also understood the district was already understaffed, so I believed she at least needed to be educated and reprimanded. She asked if it was okay if she spoke to my daughter, so she could get the cadence of the conversation straight from her before she spoke with the teacher and others. I told her to please do, and that I thought it would be good for her to know that what happened was wrong, and that she did the right thing. The downside to all of this is that the VP was leaving after their talk to go to a conference and wouldn't be back until Monday, so she probably won't talk to the teacher until then. She said that she was going to talk to my daughter and let her know that she can go to the ARC instead of that class until they meet again on Monday. Additionally, she is going to offer her a change in schedule. It does sound like the referral was merely a threat, and it worked. It scared the SHT out of my daughter, who is scared of any sort of record. I'll update more when I get more info. For now, I'm just relieved that the VP agrees that this was messed up. Before I go, I'll address a few comments. Some people thought it was weird she didn't text me. My daughter didn't text me because phones are banned in school. This was a rule for the first time this year, probably because it was on its way to becoming a state law. Why, if they are caught with their phone, even in their pocket, they will get it taken away, and a parent has to come into the office to get it. After a few times, they get a referral. But honestly, even last year my kids emailed me because it was easier for them since they are always on their Chromebook. Update. The teacher called me. I answered because I thought it was the VP, which was dumb because she had told me she was leaving for the day week. The teacher told me her account of the situation and explained to me that she created a new policy, and because it was the start of the semester, she was being firm with it. I said, she told you it was urgent because of her period, and your response was to deny her, humiliate her, and then threaten her. She said that she just wanted to know that she wasn't lying to her. I said, how did you want me to prove to you that she had a period? Did you want a picture of a bloody tampon or something? Not my finest moment, especially with my daughters in the car. She responded, no, that's disgusting. I said, I agree. Denying a young woman a bathroom and then wanting proof that she wasn't lying was disgusting. I was very disgusted in this situation. I then told her that I would prefer to continue this convo with the VP, and we hung up. Comments. OP replied to a long comment. My daughter was upfront about it being period-related. The VP talked to both my daughter and the teacher. The teacher then called me, and I answered, not realizing it could be her. And now my daughter is mad at me because when she said, I just wanted to know she wasn't lying, I said, what did you want? A picture of a bloody tampon. It was a short conversation, and I feel a little bad that my daughter heard me be unkind to her. But she shouldn't have called me when she knew I was upset. I probably would have had a little more chill in me tomorrow. Commenter. Okay, so you spoke with the teacher, who confirmed what your daughter said about being upfront with her period. Sounds like you have a right to be upset. I'm not surprised that the teacher called. I doubt that the teacher knew that you would be so upset that you couldn't talk with her about it on the phone at that time, unless the VP told her beforehand. That might just be her inexperience showing. OP. She said, I heard you were upset about what happened in my class today. The conversation wasn't super long, and I told her that I would be continuing my conversation with the VP instead of her. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.